Got stuff?
Yeah, man.
You weren't followed, were you?
Definitely not.
So this is meant to be the good stuff.
Yeah, you won't get a better bag on the market.
Nice. Let's get on it.
That's a good bite, that, wasn't it? When you're fishing there, they're always going to be screamers, isn't they?
It's all yours.
Nice. Well done, mate.
Thanks, bro.
That didn't take very long, did it?
It didn't take long at all. Oh dear. Well, there you go. Welcome to Carp Chapters. We're at Toll Pits, solid bags. Great start.
Very, very good start. But what, half an hour fishing?
About half an hour, but that goes to prove that finding fish is the key, because me and Henry walked round, we found a lot of fish in the margins, clouding up, a couple of solid bags each, dropped on the lightly looking areas.
Job done.
Keeper, and job done. So I reckon we should get this fella back, because he's absolutely roasting. And I need to get my solid bag back out on the spot. Definitely. Whoa. There we go. Anyway, let's get bags back out on the spots.
Right, mate.
Thanks. Whee! Right, so that fish is now gone back, and I've been here for an hour and look like I've already done 48 hours on the bank, but I'm not complaining. We're off the mark super, super quick. And the aim of the game here at Toll Pits is to sort of keep mobile. It's a big sort of irrigation reservoir, and the fish just literally swim round and around. And when me and Henry got here, we had a good lap and we found lots of fish down this bank. They were clouding up all the water, and it was really good to see the fish so close into the margin. So the plan of attack was to use solid bags, just lowered just off the tips of the rod, nice and quietly, and it has done the trick so far. So lovely little common.
Chris, you silly boy, you should know the difference between a common and a mirror by now. In fact, it was a mirror, not a common, silly boy.
About sort of 15 pounds, but it's first fish and we're off the mark. So, solid bags, perfect for this style of fishing. As I mentioned, if the lake bed is a little bit weedy, because as I say, we're fishing in the margins, if the lake bed's a little bit weedy, this will present itself perfectly on any sort of weed in the margins, and a great attack. Now let's quickly talk about the rig that I'm using, because I need to get this back in the drink so I can catch another one. And what we'll do is I'll let Henry talk about these sort of speed loaders, which he's dropped off for me. Great little tool for making solid PVA bags in super quick time. But anyway, rigs, the most important part. I like to use a short, supple hook link of about sort of 3 to 4 inches long, a nice little hook, and I always use a little wafter. Now, for me, that is not that complicated. A little bit of tubing over the eye of the hook and a little split shot on the actual hook link, I think sort of helps turn the hook and grab the fish's mouth. I like to use an inline drop-off lead, and I've done it in a way that I can drop off these Nash leads super fast. I know you're dropping leads, but I think with a really short hook link, getting rid of that lead means that you can land that fish a lot easier. It hasn't got that big weight banging around so close to where the fish's mouth is. So I think that's paramount to drop the lead. All I do is I push the swivel with the hook link on the end into the actual lead, and then put the tubing, because it's a tubing reel here on Toll Pits. I put that over the tail rubber, and if you give it a pull from both ends, bang, the lead falls off. So that is the way I'm fishing it. As I mentioned, I'll let Henry talk about the speed loader a little bit later, because I need to get this out so I can catch another carp.
If you fancy using any of the products you see me or Henry using in this piece, I've made it really easy for you. Just click the link in the description and you can go and check them out.
Right, Henry, they seem to have gone. I think the plan of action is...
Let's go for a move.
Yep.
Super spooky. You've caught one. Let's go and find where they are. I think it's over there somewhere.
Agreed. Let's go.
So the plan was easy. We were going to chase the fish around. You could spot them, you could see them in the margins, and you could see them feeding. So lowering solid bags right where they were feeding, and it was a case of just sitting back and waiting.
Well, I think we may be on our feet a lot, mate.
I think we absolutely will be, and it's going to be hard in this heat, but they're really spooky, aren't they?
They're
really,
so
really
spooky. But it's really annoying because it's absolute bake-off. No, wait.
Come on.
Which rod is that one? Oh.
Done.
Well, that was a bit of excitement, but I've just been done, mate.
That's the only problem with solid bags, is that they are a little bit of a one-shot wonder. Sometimes, if you don't get the bite the first time,
yeah, you feel like you're then just fishing a single, don't you?
Yeah.
But there are fish here, but as you say...
There we go, I'm getting liners now as well. They're definitely down there.
They're definitely there. I think it's just a case of waiting for the right time, because it is, as I said a minute ago, it's absolute bake-off. And it's just so hot. And you can see them swimming around, but we're a good 5 foot underneath them, and yeah, like you say, we just need them to drop down a bit.
And we haven't even been here that long, to be fair. Like
it feels like I've been here for like 72 hours.
Because of the
absolutely
heat.
drenched.
But I also think it's because you're seeing fish there swimming up and down, you're thinking, oh, I should have had a bite, but because they're so far away from the actual bait because of how deep it is, it's making it feel like a much longer period of time than it actually is.
And I do think they know we're here as well, even though we're creeping down so quietly and just dropping little bags in. There was clouding, and then as soon as you do that, it sort of goes a bit quiet. So they definitely know that you're coming. Yeah. They definitely know.
These high banks, where we're fishing, it's like a very typical Essex water, these irrigation reses, and they've got such high banks that the fish, they're just looking up at the skyline the whole time. They're always seeing you, so they know
Especially
we're here.
two absolute yetis like me and you. They're going to see us, aren't they?
Giving it away straight away.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we should, keep moving about, keep following them about, and we'll hopefully
get a couple more. I think we will. Yeah.
Well, sitting back and chilling out definitely worked, because Henry soon got a bite.
No! Fuck! No! I saw it. I could see it swimming out there.
It's never great losing fish. In fact, we've had a couple of occurrences where we've been done and lost a fish. But look at on the positives. We are in the right place and we're getting amongst some fish. But another solid bag, prepped and lowered in, and Henry was fishing again.
We've been stood up here on the bank watching fish feed down here where I've placed a solid bag, and we've seen some very big carp come in, feed in. But sadly, I think a little one's come in and nabbed the bait and absolutely tore off. But at least we got a bite. After losing a couple earlier, I was starting to feel a little bit despondent. So I'm just happy to be hooked into a carp. What a bite. That was so enjoyable watching them feed. Frustrating, but really, really enjoyable. Same one as yours, isn't it?
Same one, mate. I'm not going to swoop at it. There you go. He's in.
Job done. Right.
There you go. Well done.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
He's a bit small.
Oh, just my luck today. Lost 2, and I've watched monster carp feeding in the edge and hooked the smallest one that came in to feed, but I can't complain too much. We're getting a lot of action. I finally caught a carp. It just goes to show how effective those solid bags can be, because we've not even been here that long. We've had like 4 or 5 bites or something, so yeah, can't complain too much. I'm gonna get this one back, get another bag tied, and get the rod out. Solid bags have been perfect for the type of fishing we're doing here. We're finding fish, feeding in the edge, and we're quietly dropping that solid bag in front of them and getting bites, and it's proving quite successful. I'm using the Speed Load solid bag in medium size to make things really, really easy for me. All we do is to tie these is we take out the blue collar and the black tubing, place the black tubing over that blue collar. You then grab your solid bag, open up the solid bag, and pass it over that blue collar. And that collar will expand, so you've got a nice tight bag there to work with. In terms of the bait that I'll put in first, I'll always put small food items in to begin with, be that stick mix, 2mm pellet, or on this occasion, I've been using boilie crumb. I've got some 12mm monster shrimp here that I'm just crushing it with my fingers. And since I've moved over doing this, I wasn't doing it at the start of the session, but after a couple of hours I changed over to putting a bit more boilie in, and the bites definitely increased, so they're definitely liking boilie on this particular lake. I think it's important to use small food items, really fine food items, when you're first putting bait into the mix, because it will help protect that hook point. I'll then pass in the rig. I'm putting the hook bait in first, and what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to try and put it on one side of the bag. The reason for this is on the opposite side of the bag I'll put the lead, and then I'm always going to have it when it's cast out land lead side down, so that the hook bait is right at the top of the pile of bait, so it's the first thing that the fish suck in when they come past. I definitely think it helps increase the hooking capabilities of this rig. What I'll do here as well is I'll trap the lead in position with the little groove here. It's a lot easier when you're using a leader to do this. There's a leader ban on this lake, unfortunately, so I'm trapping it in with the main line. But if you've got a leader, it makes it even easier to trap it into position. Then I'll put in a little bit of pellet. I've got a mix here of 2mm citrus and 6mm monster shrimp. Never put really big food items in a solid bag, be that 15mm above boilies. I just think it means that there's too many air spaces in the bag. It won't fly right in the cast. It just looks a bit messy. It's better to use as small food items as possible. Like I said, I've got some 6mm pellet in there, so I do have a few bigger food items, but try and avoid having really big food items in there, really big boilies, things like that. Then put a few more crushed boilies in there. A bit more of that pellet mix. And it's important here to not fill the bag all the way up. You should have a little bit of bait at the bottom, then your hook bait, then about halfway up you should have your lead, and then you should have had another layer of bait, and then you should have the top third or so completely free. The reason you want this to be free is so you can actually twist, lick and stick it down properly. If you fill it too much, you won't be able to do that. I'll tap the bag down, give it that twist, lick the PVA that's on the collar and stick that down. And then to make it a little bit neater, I'll tap the corners down. Stick them in. I'll give it a few stabs with a bait needle, just to help some of that air escape. I think if you don't do this, what can actually happen is the bag explodes when the air escapes, and it can send all your bait everywhere and you lose that tight parcel of bait. So by stabbing it, you make it a little bit more compact, and you also let the air escape gradually from the bag, which means you don't get that explosion effect underwater. And there we go, a perfect solid bag tied up, ready to be cast out. All we need to do now is find some feeding fish in the edge and drop it in amongst them.
So me and Henry, we fished together for the rest of the afternoon, but there was a thunderstorm due to come in. So we went our separate ways and we decided to put up our homes for the evening in two different sort of sides of the lake. I opted for the point swim and Henry opted to fish the bank that we had concentrated on in the afternoon. 3 solid bags put on the spots he was confident in. I decided to tie 3 fresh rigs going into the evening, same approach, solid bags, but flicked out a little bit further for the nighttime bites. A little bit of boilie over the top as it starts to rain, and we're fishing on 2 rods. The third was cast down into the bay where I'd seen some fish showing and feeding that afternoon. Then it was just a case of sitting back and actually relaxing for the first time that day while we go into the evening.
Well, we woke up this morning and somehow had no carp between the two of us. They did say this was going to happen. It's not really a night bite water, but I was feeling confident they were going to creep in to the margins where we were fishing in the night. Sadly they haven't. I've reeled the rods in, gone for a little walk, and they seem to be on the opposite bank. So I've walked over here, and from what I can tell, it's going to be exactly the same as yesterday. We're going to be chasing the carp around, dropping the bags in front of feeding fish, and hopefully nicking a bite or two. I think if we do that, we've obviously started very early. I don't think it's 6 o'clock yet. We've got a good portion of time where we can nab quite a few fish. So I think if we have the same approach as yesterday, exactly the same as yesterday, we will catch quite a few more carp. So that's the plan. Just got to execute it now.
Paul, the fishery owner, did state that night bites were hard to come by at Toll Pits this time of year. But that didn't bother us because we had until about midday today to hopefully get amongst some more fish. And it didn't take long for me to get my next bite.
Oh, it's a pasty again. It's that little comment I reckon you saw. We're on pasty watch, man.
That is a very small one.
Oh.
We've not done very well with sizes at all.
No, we've been very unlucky.
I mean, that is really unfortunate,
Yeah.
that one.
Are you ready?
Gave a great bite for a fish that size,
Cool,
didn't it?
it?
Oh. No, it's a bite, isn't it?
It's a bite. Yeah. He don't look too happy, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Well, let's have a look at him. Well, as you've probably gathered, it's a baby, but it is a fish. I'm going to try and show you like this because he's a cool carp, I must admit. For little commons, he's going to be a proper big bruiser when he's older. But at the moment, he's very, very small. So we're going to slip him back without much fuss. And hopefully we can get something a bit bigger because me and Henry are on serious pasty watch.
As you can imagine, playing a fish in these shallow margins means that the rest of the shoal definitely move away. So I decided to put a couple of solid bags back out from my original night spot because I'd seen a fair few fish showing over the bait I put out the night before. A lot of clouding over one of the rods, and yes, you guessed it, it didn't take long before I was away again. But unfortunately,
I think it's just done me.
losing fish is so painful at the best of times, but even more so when we've only got a few hours left to, catch a few more for the cameras. Like I mentioned, catching fish or losing fish in the zones here at Toll Pits definitely pushes them away, and I felt like that spot was pretty much done and no more bites were going to come my way. So it was all down to you, Henry, now. You'd moved to the opposite end of the lake for the last hour or two of our day.
It's been an emotional
roller coaster of a session, and it could still have one more down if this comes off. Here's in the weed.
Don't be negative. This is going to be the one.
It's a better one. Yes, come on.
Yeah, boy.
Oh my God, I really thought that was going to happen then. When it got stuck in that weed over and over again, yes. He's a nice one.
Oh, he's class to end on.
Yes, that's
Well
an
done,
ending.
mate.
Come on. Yes.
Well, talk about leaving it to the last second, Henry. What do you say to that?
That was literally like, we were packing up, weren't we, basically?
Mate, we were packing up. I was literally about to reel my rods in. We're going to go and do an ending, and there you go.
Stunner as well. That
Yep.
is such a lovely, lovely carp. Yeah, it's been all right, hasn't it? After
Yep.
a bit of graft, a bit of disappointment with the lost fish.
We've lost a few. The ones we've caught have been small, but this goes to prove.
Yeah, I'm going to go home with a massive smile on my face. So yeah, thanks for having me.
No,
Appreciate
thanks for
it.
coming along, and thanks for Toll Pits for letting us come and fish this venue. If you want to come and fish Toll Pits, check out Catch. You can get yourself booked on. But yeah, thank you very much.
Cheers,
Well done, buddy.
Cheers.
See you later.